Hey folks, welcome back to the Heavy Hitters Radio Show on Independent Radio. I am not the normal host of the show, which is Moose, aka Big House. This is D-Lo G, and I'm in the house with Running MC and...
What? No, start over. There's more than one of you here this go round.
I'm here with Running MC.
No, not fun.
Hey, listen folks.
Do it over.
Yes.
I got my man, the star of the show, LGZ.
Woo!
Yeah.
LGZ Baku.
LGZ and Baku. No disrespect, brother. But I've got LGZ in the house with me. And, Run dissed us the first segment. She had a problem with how she was introduced.
When there's more than one person.
Yeah, we got Run MC.
No, that's rude.
Exactly. And that's exactly what she got from that point forward.
No, but it's still the heavy hitters.
No, this is like the independent radio financial section.
Yes. Well, folks, if you remember, we do have my man Fron in the house with us.
What's up?
He gave us some great information that first segment. We got more to talk about. We want this process to be easy for you. We want you to know what to expect going in. Fron, you know what I'm saying? I know with the home ownership piece, savings is a big part of it. And then there's a lot of debt out there that people deal with.
Absolutely.
That I think makes the process even more intimidating because they don't necessarily know what to do in terms of savings, in terms of managing that debt. It almost feels like to most people, well, I can't get a house, man. So kind of talk to us, man, as far as what we should be looking at in terms of savings, dealing with debt. You got the floor from here, brother.
Well, basically what we want to do is we want to look at it from three aspects. I talked about one lightly. It's about saving money, assets, things of that nature. Another one is credit worthiness, and then which is the main piece that I'm going to get to in a second, and the ability to repay your loan. And which kind of actually ties the both together.
Okay.
What I would say is that let's talk a little bit about credit. Your credit, of course, is the number one thing that you need to be on top of. And there was like a couple of things that from my personal experience in dealing with, just to let you know, I've been in loans for 6 years, but I've actually just bought my home a year and a half ago. So I appreciate you. There was several different things that I did learn on the outside and the inside of being in loans. And I put together about 11 things from what I experienced from actually getting this house. Just 11 things that I was able to watch for. Number one, first and foremost, for all of those college students that have student loan debt, where do I start from that?
Yeah, that's a big one, Fron, because that's a big problem with the nation, our community. And so, man, anything you can give us on that, man, we appreciate.
Well, number one, I would say be careful of your student loan debt. Student loan debt is there. In some cases, it's not going to change. In some cases, some people pay on it, but they pay more interest than they do on the principal. What I would say is that if you're in the process of trying to attain or acquire a house, and you have student loan debt, the first and foremost thing is if you have any debt, make sure you're paying in and paying on time. If you can't afford it, the U.S. Department of Education will be more than glad to go and offer you a forbearance or a deferment. Okay, and even if you're in default, which a lot of people are, because it's not a priority in the household. Right. Does that make sense? You got your house, you got your lights, car, make sure the baby is fed, make sure it's heat on and hot water is in the house for mom, and at the end of the day, that kind of takes a back seat. Yeah, it takes a back seat. So make sure that you take care of your student loan debt. There are deferments. You can do consolidation. You can do forbearances for a year to go and allow yourself to stay in good standing with that process, okay? The second thing, credit cards that are overdrawn. Whatever you do, please, whatever you do, try to get those paid off below 30% of your credit utilization. So important.
So what does that mean when you say below your credit utilization?
So, say for instance, you have a $300 credit card.
Okay.
Let me just keep it simple.
Okay.
Don't go above $90 of that. Okay. What I mean by that, I'm saying like you want to go and pay $150 on something, and if you do, pay it off real quick within the same time frame, probably within the same 2 or 3 days.
Right.
This is going to help you out a great amount, and it's going to go and be beneficial to you because at that point in time, what we like to see from a financial institution that you're not maxing out your credit cards. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Number 3. Well, actually, number 3 was associated with number 2.
Okay.
Keeping that 30%. Don't spend no more than what you have above and beyond 30%. Number 4, watch out for tax liens. Tax liens are something that is very, very frightening once you find them out. There may be some times that you may owe, and it comes from the forefront to the back of your mind. Tax liens can end you as far as trying to acquire a house.
Uncle Sam,
okay?
Uncle Sam.
Yeah, Uncle Sam do not take second seat to no one. Okay. So make absolutely sure that you're in a position where you can go and pay all your tax liens and then show your paperwork. Keep your paperwork on
Really?
time.
So even after you pay the debt, it's important to kind of keep a paper trail showing
Absolutely.
what you've done to resolve those debts.
And I'm glad that you said paperwork because that's going to be covered in something a little bit later that I'm going to explain to you. Okay? Bankruptcies, number 5. Bankruptcies. Make sure all of your bankruptcies are resolved. Whether it's a Chapter 7, whether it's a Chapter 13, make sure that your bankruptcies are resolved.
So tell me, Fron, when you say resolving the bankruptcy,
yes.
Let's say someone is filed, what are those indicators that would let them know that the bankruptcy is resolved? Does that mean it's been closed out?
Well, actually, after you've had your meeting of creditors, okay, they will actually either place you on a payment plan. If it's a 13, they'll more than likely place you on a payment plan, or you'll actually have it discharged immediately, which means Chapter 7, which is total liquidation. Okay?
That's that I ain't got it.
Yeah. If you don't have it, we understand it's been around for a little while. We're going to take this off your hands. Okay?
But you be hemmed up for 7 years, you pretty much hemmed up.
Absolutely. But what I will say also is that just because you get a discharge, here's the thing. Just because you get a discharge don't necessarily mean that you're going to go and buy whatever it is that you want to on credit. You have to have some leeway time to show that you have good payment history in order to make it happen. Okay?
So even after bankruptcy, you have to go back and reestablish some good credit?
Absolutely. Good places to go and start for those individuals who have liquid money but don't have credit. You can go and utilize your Capital One. Number 1, Capital One is a great place for an unsecured credit card. Go and utilize that. You'll start off at $200 or $300 at best. Or number 2, you can actually do a secured credit card where you put your own money down and loan against your own money. Okay?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
When it comes to filing Chapter 7, I've heard that once you file Chapter 7, you typically it's fact or fiction, that once you get into Chapter 7, then you'll start getting more credit cards going your way because they know that you can't file on them again. Is that true? And they'll start giving you like a little security. You'll start getting a whole bunch of email.
Absolutely.
On those cards. They know you can't file bankruptcy again.
Absolutely. If you're fresh out, there are going to be some places that, because there's going to be some places that are going to say that, hey, here you are. You need this. You need this. We can do this at this interest rate. Congratulations on being out of bankruptcy. That's not a good move. Okay? It's not a good move at all. And the reason being is because they're trying to put you back in the same trap, or the same trick bag. Yeah, there it is. The same trick bag where you were once before. That's not good for business. ultimately, and a lot of people, I'm glad you brought that up, a lot of people have the tendency to fall back into that trick bag. One thing I said beforehand when I was talking with Moose a couple of weeks ago was knowledge is power, but a lack of it is expensive for some and profitable for others.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a great point.
So my point is that with that being said, don't be on the latter end, be profitable, and don't deal with the credit at all.
Right.
Number 6 was another important thing is no 30, 60, or 90 days late whatsoever. So when you're looking at credit reports, that's something that a financial institution hate to see. I have a credit card, but yet and still, I may have messed up a couple of times, 2 months, and then they came up and reported 30 days late.
Right.
If you can, that ties into your utilization. You only pay what it is that you can afford to pay.
Right.
Pay it on time to go ahead and keep everybody happy, especially your creditors. No 30, 60, or 90-day lates, okay?
Now, okay, so let's say I'm not 30 days late, but I'm 14 days late.
Okay.
Does the same penalty hit me, or is it once I get to that 30-day mark?
I'm glad you asked that. Absolutely not. Here's the thing. Usually, a lot of your TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax would say, hey, you'll get hit with a late fee, but you won't get reported on for a full 30 days.
That's something I actually didn't know.
Knowledge is power.
Even on your mortgage, you get a 15-day grace period to pay.
Yeah.
Right, and there are some loans that will give you that, but I just didn't realize with something like that, if the actual amount of days late played a role as far as its impact.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So be mindful, even if it's 28 days, it's not 30. Okay? There's going to be some times that you're going to have a lot of more than money. Okay? But realistically, at that point, you can actually go and pay off as much as you can to go and get it under that amount that you owe, to go and be respected and that be applied, so you won't get a 30-day late at least. Okay? Be good at paying your utilities. A lot of people think that just because it's not credit, it's the fact that you're actually utilizing utilities.
Yeah.
Utilities, your IPL, your citizen gases, your water companies, I can't think of the name, Vectron, I think it is. Your veterans. Those places, okay? Those places can hold you hostage for not paying your utilities on time. And from a person that has financial institution and access to going ahead and giving you what it is that you want, ultimately a house, you cannot default on what it is that you owe as far as your utilities. Make sense? So whatever you do, don't do it. I don't care if it's a cable bill. I don't care if it's a cell phone bill. Of course, I'm really concerned about light bill, gas bill, water bill, because they directly affect the house. Make sense? Okay. Your medical bills. A lot of places now
that's a big one.
Yeah. This is something to help you. A lot of places are more forgiving as far as utilizing your medical bills, okay? But if you have nothing but medical bills on your credit report, the best thing for you to do is make a deal as far as going to pay those and make those payment arrangements and make them on time.
$10,
it doesn't matter. As long as you have that's what matters. That's what matters. Okay? Stay away from check systems. Stay away from check systems. Okay. I got a checking account. I had $1,000 in it. I paid $1,000, and then I saw something else for $100, and I wanted to pay the $100 while the $1,000 is in the process. In other words, floating checks, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, don't float them. Do not float any checks. The reason why is because at that point in time, if you never pay back on what it is that you owe, you'll go into what's known as check system.
Check system, bro.
Where do mortgages usually come from?
Banks.
And where does mortgages come from?
Banks.
Okay, so if you have an issue with check systems, guess what you got an issue with? Banks. Yeah. Okay. Be prepared to write letters of explanation for everything that you've tried and that you messed up and tried to get right.
So that actually has some value. If I write to the lender I'm trying to get something done with, I can explain, and there's some level of sympathy or is there some level of understanding that plays a role in my ability to be able to get a mortgage?
One thing I will know is that the underwriter is human too. And the underwriter has a lot more understanding if you can explain away the reason why this happened.
Last 7.
No, we only got a couple more points. We'll talk.
And then for the love of God, please don't open any more trade lines if you have access. Whatever you do, don't open up any more trade lines in the process of actually obtaining a house.
That's a good point.
If you get pre-approved for something, $180,000, don't get excited and then turn around and go to Kittles to try to go and get furniture.
It's pre-approved meaning that we'll give it to you, but that don't mean you got it.
Exactly. Very good.
That's strong.
Very good.
That's strong.
So for the love of God, when you're in the application process, do not open up any other trade lines for whatsoever. If you can pay for it, pay money, do it.
Until that loan closes.
Until that loan closes.
I've seen times where the last day they really put it one more time. Right?
Yeah. Even if you go beyond the monthly amount or the monthly time frame to do it, go ahead and do it.
That's real. Hey, folks, you're listening to the Heavy Hitters Radio Show. We've been here with my man, Fron Neal. We're getting great financial advice. Fron works at TCU. He can get you together. He can get you pointed in the right direction. So make sure you give him a holler. His business number is 317-572-2326, extension 3438. And listen, folks, if it's outside of business hours, at least give him a call. He can be reached at 317-426-7107. Schedule some time to speak with an expert, somebody who can get you pointed in the right direction, somebody who can get you on your way to self-empowerment through financial ownership. Hey, folks, this is D-Lo G for Run EMC and LGZ Mbako. You tuned into the Heavy Hitters Radio Show on Independent Radio. Hey, folks, we're down here at Sticks.
Come on,
361 Indiana.
Yes, sir. That's where we at, and we rocking. We got a lot of people in the building. We got the wonderful sounds of Just Two. So we're glad to be able to have this opportunity, have this event, talk finances, talk ownership. And listen, if we get the opportunity, we're going to come back and talk some more because we've got the absolute jewels from Fron tonight, and we want to be able to pass that on to you. Hey, folks, we are where you are.
Get comfortable.
And come on in.
Come on.
Out.